Tom lived alone in a small wooden cabin at the edge of green pine forest. His life was quiet. He fixed machines, helped people in town, and spent his evenings drinking tea on his porch. He liked the stars. Every night, he looked up at the sky and wondered if something was out there. That night, the sky gave him an answer. It started with a sound, a deep, heavy roar, like thunder. Then a flash of bright blue light lit up the sky. Tom stood up from his chair, eyes wide. Something was falling fast right over the trees. A second later, he heard it, a loud crash, followed by the shaking of the earth. The sound came from deep in the forest. Tom didn't waste time. He grabbed his flashlight, pulled on his boots, and rushed into the woods. The night was cold, and the trees stood tall and dark around him. But Tom kept moving, heart beating fast. After 20 minutes of walking, he saw a soft glow between the trees. As he got closer, he saw it wasn't fire, it was something else, something not from Earth. There, half buried in the dirt and leaves, was a small spaceship. It was smooth, silver, and cracked in many places. Smoke rose from the back, and small lights blinked across its body. A door on the side was open. The ship was silent now. Tom stepped closer, carefully. "Hello," he called out. "Is someone there?" No answer. He took another step. Then he heard a soft sound, a faint cough or cry. His flashlight found the source, a figure laying just outside the ship, half covered by a thin blanket of silver cloth. It was a girl. She looked young, maybe his age or younger. Her skin was light blue with faint, glowing lines like soft tattoos. Her hair was long and dark, with a shimmer of silver. Her eyes were closed. She looked hurt. One arm was bruised and her clothes were torn. Tom dropped to his knees beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" he asked softly. She moved slightly, groaning in pain. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing green like emeralds. She looked at him, scared and weak. "It's okay," Tom said gently. "I'm here to help." She said nothing. Her lips moved, but he couldn't understand the words. It wasn't English. Her voice was soft and musical, like a whisper carried by the wind. She tried to sit up but winced. Tom stopped her. "Don't move. You're hurt." She looked at him again, eyes full of confusion and fear. Then, slowly, she nodded once. Tom looked around. The ship was broken, probably not safe. She couldn't stay out here in the cold. Carefully, he lifted her in his arms. She was light, almost too light. She didn't fight him, just rested her head against his chest. Eyes closing again, he carried her all the way back to his cabin, back home. Tom laid her on his couch and covered her with a blanket. He lit the fireplace to warm the room. He cleaned the cut on her arm and wrapped it gently. She didn't speak. She only watched him, silent and still, her green eyes following every move. Tom made warm soup and left it near her. She didn't eat at first, but after a while, when he turned away, she reached for the spoon. Her hands shook. "I don't know who you are," Tom said softly, "but you're safe here." The girl looked at him, not understanding the words, but she seemed to sense his kindness. She gave a small nod and placed her hand over her heart. Tom smiled a little. "Lena," he said suddenly. "I'll call you Lena." She blinked at the sound, then slowly repeated it. "Lena." "Yes," Tom said, surprised she understood. "Lena." She smiled for the first time. It was small, but it was there. Over the next few days, Tom tried to help her heal. He brought her food, kept the cabin warm, and tried to teach her simple words: water, food, safe, friend. She listened closely, repeating after him. She still couldn't explain where she was from or what had happened to her ship. But Tom didn't push her. He knew she would speak when she was ready. At night, Lena looked out the window, staring at the stars. She sometimes touched the glass with her fingers, as if missing something far away. Her eyes looked sad, but also full of wonder. One night, Tom was sitting by the fireplace, fixing a radio. Lena sat across from him, watching. Suddenly, the radio made a crackling sound. Even though it wasn't working before, a soft buzz. Then a strange voice speaking in a language Tom didn't know. Lena sat up straight, eyes wide. She stared at the radio, then at Tom. "You understand that?" he asked. She nodded, slowly. Tom's heart started to pound. Who was that? Lena stood and walked over to the window. She pointed to the sky, then drew a small shape in the air, a triangle, with lines behind it. A ship. She placed her hand on her chest, then pointed toward the sky. Then, shaking her head, she pointed back to the radio, then made a circle with her finger and pointed downward, toward the earth. Tom understood. Someone's looking for you, he said quietly. And they're already here? Lena nodded, a sad and worried look on her face. Outside, the night was quiet, but Tom's peaceful world had changed. He looked at Lena. She was not just a visitor. She was someone in danger, someone being hunted. And now, he was part of it. Just before midnight, Tom stepped outside to check the forest. The trees swayed gently in the wind, and the stars glowed above. All seemed calm. But then, he saw it. A small flying drone, black and silent, hovered above the trees. It scanned the ground with a red light, moving slowly toward his cabin. Tom ducked under the porch roof, heart pounding. He watched the drone fly past and vanish into the trees. He rushed back inside. Lena stood by the door. She had seen it too. Her eyes were wide. She spoke one word, softly. Danger. Tom looked at her and nodded. I'll protect you. I promise. The morning sun rose slowly above Green Pine Forest. Its golden light touched the wooden cabin where Tom and Lena now shared a quiet secret. The forest outside looked calm, but inside the cabin, both of them knew things were changing. Tom didn't sleep much that night. He kept thinking about the drone, how it searched the woods, how it scanned the area. It had moved with purpose. That meant it wasn't random. Someone, or something, was looking for Lena. But why? He didn't have the answer. All he knew was that she needed help, and he couldn't let her face this danger alone. Lena sat at the table near the window, wearing one of Tom's old shirts. It was too big for her, but she didn't mind. She looked peaceful as she held a mug of warm tea in her hands, her green eyes glowing softly in the morning light. Tom sat across from her with a notebook and pencil. Okay, he said with a smile. Let's try again. He pointed to himself. Tom, she nodded. Tom, he pointed to her. Lena, she smiled and touched her chest. Lena, good. Tom drew a picture of a tree. Tree. Lena looked outside, then back at the drawing. Tree, she repeated. They continued like that for hours, Tom drawing simple things, saying the word, and Lena repeating it. Her voice was soft, but clear. She learned fast. Soon she could say sky, fire, food, and safe. When Tom drew a heart and said friend, she paused, then placed her hand on his arm and said, friend. Tom didn't say anything, but he smiled. Days passed. The two worked together to fix small things around the cabin. Tom showed her how to use tools, screwdrivers, hammers, wires. She watched him closely, then copied his movements. She was smart, quick, and gentle with her hands. One day, the radio Tom had left broken on the shelf suddenly made a soft click. What? Tom walked over. Lena was sitting near it. She had taken it apart and was now carefully placing wires back inside. Her hands moved fast but steady. Within minutes, the radio lit up. Clear static buzzed from the speaker. You fixed it? Tom asked in shock. Lena nodded shyly. How did you do that? She pointed to her head. Memory, she said. Tom blinked. You remember how machines work? She nodded again. Then she spoke a sentence in her own language, long, musical words that Tom didn't understand, but he saw pride in her eyes. He nodded. You're amazing. She looked down, a small smile forming on her face. Later that night, they sat by the fireplace. Tom cooked simple soup, and Lena added small blue herbs from her belt pouch, leftovers from her ship. The soup changed color, but tasted warm and sweet. Tom liked it while eating. He decided to ask a question. Lena, he said slowly, ship, why did it fall? Lena looked into the fire. Her face grew sad. She didn't speak right away. Then she picked up the pencil and paper and began to draw. First, a round planet, then a ship flying above it, then three dark ships following behind. She drew lines, lasers, or blasts hitting her ship. Then the small ship falling toward another planet, enemy, Tom asked. She nodded. Hunters. She said. Tom understood now. They chased you here. Lena nodded again. Then she looked at him. Eyes serious, she pointed outside, to the forest. Danger comes. Tom's chest grew tight. She was right. Those drones weren't just searching. They were hunting. How many? He asked. Lena raised 3 fingers. Tom swallowed hard. Then we don't have much time. The next day, Tom decided to prepare. He went to town and bought more supplies cans of food, water bottles, batteries. He said hello to people, acted normal. But inside, he was worried. What if they followed him? What if they found Lena? He rushed back to the cabin before sunset. When he arrived, he found Lena outside, sitting under a tree, looking at the sky. She stood up when she saw him and gave him a small wave. Tom looked at her. You shouldn't be outside. Lena nodded. Sorry? Needed sky. He couldn't blame her. She had lost her whole world. Sometimes, looking up was the only thing that felt like home. That night, something strange happened. Tom was checking the power tools when he heard Lena scream. He ran into the main room and saw her on the floor, breathing hard, eyes wide with fear. She was shaking. Lena. He dropped to her side. What's wrong? She grabbed his hand. Dream? Memory. Tom held her tight. You're safe now. No one's going to hurt you. She slowly calmed down, her breathing returning to normal. I saw them. She whispered. Big, black eyes, cold voice. They want power. Tom frowned. What kind of power? She touched her chest. Inside me, special light. My people, protect it. They want to take it. Tom understood. They weren't just chasing her, they were trying to steal something sacred. I won't let them. Tom said firmly. They'll have to go through me first. The next day, Tom made a plan. He showed Lena a small map of the nearby area. There was an old bunker hidden deeper in the woods, something left behind from a war long ago. It had strong walls and no windows. It would be safer than the cabin. Lena agreed. They packed supplies and moved quietly through the trees. Tom carried the heavier bags while Lena watched their back, holding a small scanner device from her ship. It beeped slowly, but with no red lights. That meant no danger for now. The bunker was still there, old but strong. They cleared up some debris and made a place to sleep. It wasn't as cozy as the cabin, but it was hidden, and hidden was what they needed. That night, Tom lit a small lantern. Lena sat close to him. The walls were cold, but her presence made the place feel warmer. Tom looked at her. You're getting stronger. Lena nodded. Because of you. He smiled. Because of us. She looked down, then slowly placed her hand on his. Her fingers were small and cool, but they gripped his hand gently. Tom, she said quietly. Thank you. Tom looked into her green eyes. You don't need to thank me, Lena. I'm just doing what's right. But he knew it was more than that. Something was growing between them. Something stronger than fear. Stronger than words. Something that neither of them expected. Suddenly, Lena's scanner started to beat faster. Tom stood up, heart racing. What is it? Lena pointed at the screen. A red dot had appeared far away, but moving closer. She looked at Tom, her voice serious. They found us. The red dot on the scanner blinked slowly. It moved across the screen, drawing closer every few seconds. Lena stared at it, her face tense and focused. Tom stood beside her, holding his breath. They found us, Lena repeated. Tom looked outside. The bunker's steel door. The trees were quiet. Birds sang in the distance. Nothing looked strange. But Tom knew better now. They're not just searching anymore, he said. They're coming straight here. Lena nodded. One ship, maybe more. How long do we have? He asked. She pressed a few buttons on the scanner. The red dot moved faster. One day, maybe less. Tom clenched his jaw. Then we need to be ready. The old bunker had once been built to survive a war. Its walls were thick, and the roof was covered with dirt and plants. No one would notice it unless they were looking carefully. That gave them some time. Tom began making a plan. He knew the forest well. He had grown up here, played here as a boy, hunted and camped here. He could use it to his advantage. He looked at Lena. We can set traps, he said. Use your scanner. My tools, and some old tricks I know. Lena's eyes lit up with understanding. I help, Tom smiled. We'll protect this place. Together, they started at sunrise. Lena showed Tom how to connect small energy wires from her broken ship parts. With them, they could build shock traps silent but strong enough to knock down a creature. Tom used ropes, metal, and strong branches to build snares and hidden spikes. They worked fast. Tom noticed how much Lena had changed in just a few days. She no longer looked scared. She was focused now, brave, every time she worked beside him. He felt a growing respect for her. She wasn't just someone he rescued. She was strong in her own way. By the afternoon, they had placed over 10 traps in a wide circle around the bunker. Some near the trees, some behind rocks, others hidden. Under leaves, we'll make it hard for them to get close, Tom said. Lena touched his shoulder. You'd think like soldier. Tom gave a short laugh. I'm no soldier. I'm just a guy who fixes engines. Lena shook her head. Heart like soldier. That matters more. Tom didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. That evening, they sat outside for a moment, watching the sky. The clouds turned pink and gold. The air was cool and still. Tom broke the silence. Did your people fight before? Lena looked down. No, we were peaceful. Builders, singers, dreamers. But some wanted more power, control. They created the hunters. Tom frowned. The ones after you? She nodded. Yes, they steal. Light, take it from us. What do they do with it? Sell it, use it. Light from my people strong. But only good people can carry it. Tom's face grew serious. That's why they want you. Yes, she whispered. There was a long pause. Then Lena looked at Tom. Her eyes glowed brighter in the dark. You protect me. But why? Tom took a deep breath. Because I saw someone who needed help. And because I couldn't walk away. I just knew I had to. She smiled softly. You're different. Different how? Better. Tom's heart warmed at her words. Later that night, the wind changed. The scanner beeped again. Louder this time. Tom checked the screen. The red dot was now just at the edge of the map. They're here, he said. Lena stood up and picked up a small crystal from her bag. It glowed softly in her hand. I'm ready. Tom grabbed a flashlight, his toolbox, and a metal pipe. It wasn't a weapon, but it was something. They turned off all lights in the bunker and waited in the dark. Hours passed. The scanner stayed. Silent, but outside, something moved. Tom heard its soft footsteps on leaves. A branch snapped in the distance. Then another. Then silence. Lena touched Tom's hand. Her grip was tight. They both stayed still. Then crack. A bright light flashed. Outside, one of the traps had gone off. Tom jumped to his feet. That was near the west line. Lena checked the scanner. 2 targets, both moving. Another loud pop rang out, followed by a strange scream, high and sharp. Then silence again. One trap had worked, but there was still another. Tom opened a small hatch in the bunker wall and looked through. He saw movement in the trees, a dark figure. Tall and thin, with long arms and glowing red eyes. It moved fast and low to the ground. Tom whispered, It's one of them. Lena stood behind him, holding the glowing crystal. If they come close, I can use this. What does it do? Blind them, stop them. But only once, Tom nodded. Then we save it for the last moment. The creature moved through the trees, checking the ground. It avoided 2 traps. Then turned and headed straight for the bunker door. Tom's heart pounded. Then, just as the creature stepped near the last trap, Lena pressed a button on her scanner. A spark burst from the ground, wrapping around the creature like lightning. It screamed and fell, twitching and shaking. The light faded, and it lay still. Did we get it? Tom asked. Lena checked the screen. Yes, to down. Tom sighed in relief. That was close. But before they could rest, the scanner beeped. Again, Lena's eyes widened. More coming. How many? Tom asked. She raised 3 fingers. Tom stood up. Then this isn't over yet. They spent the rest of the night preparing for the second wave. Lena gave Tom a small round device that lit up when danger was near. Put near path. She said. Tom hid it behind the bunker. In the early morning, they heard a sound in the sky, a soft hum like a flying machine. Tom ran outside and looked up. He saw a dark shape moving across the clouds. A ship. Not big, but fast. It hovered near the edge of the forest, then turned toward the bunker. They found us again, Tom said. They're not stopping. Lena stood beside him. She held her glowing crystal, her scanner, and a small metal tube, some kind of alien tool. We fight, she said. Tom nodded. Yes, we fight, but deep inside. He wasn't just thinking about traps or enemies. He was thinking about her, about Lena, about how much she meant to him now. She had become more than a guest, more than a secret. She had become a part of his life, and now he would protect her no matter what, even if it cost him everything. The sky stayed gray all morning. A thin fog covered the trees around the bunker. The forest, once full of birds and light, now felt quiet and cold. Tom stood outside with a backpack full of tools, wires, and one last trap. Lena watched from the doorway, holding her scanner. They are near, she said. The ship is above the hills. It will land soon. Tom nodded. He had made a choice. I'll lead them away, he said. You stay here, hidden. If they catch me, they won't find you. Lena's eyes widened. No, too dangerous. We fight together. Tom looked at her gently. If we both stay, we might lose. If I leave tracks and they follow me, you'll have time to finish your ship or call help. You're more important. Lena stepped closer. But I don't want to lose you. Tom smiled a little. You won't. I'll come back. I promise. She reached for his hand. Promise. He nodded. Yes, promise. Then, without another word, Tom turned and ran into the woods, heading west. Tom knew every path, every hill, and every rock in Green Pine Forest. His father had taught him how to track deer and hide from bears. Now, he used those same skills to fool something far worse. He found a small stream and walked inside it, leaving fewer tracks. Then he climbed a hill and scattered shiny metal pieces from his backpack, hold tools, and scraps that reflected light. He tied one of Lena's broken tech parts to a branch and set it to blink softly. He wanted the hunters to see it, to think she was here. He moved fast, always watching the sky. An hour later, he heard the sound. A deep hum, like a giant insect, filled the air. He dropped to the ground and crawled under thick leaves. A black drone flew overhead. It paused, scanned the blinking part, then turned toward him. They took the bait, Tom whispered. He ran. Back at the bunker, Lena worked quickly. She opened a small silver box and pulled out a glowing sphere. It was the heart of her ship's control system. If she could fix it, she could activate the call beacon and send a message to her people. She placed it on the table and used tiny tools to open it. Her hands moved fast, but her mind was full of worry. She kept thinking about Tom, his voice, his promise, his kind smile. He was risking everything to protect her. She had to finish before it was too late. Tom led the hunters to an old mine entrance, deep in the hills. He set the traps near the rocks and covered them with dirt. Soon, the enemy arrived, 3 tall. Thin creatures moved through the trees. Their bodies were black like stone, and their eyes glowed red. They carried strange weapons and moved without sound. Tom waited, hiding behind a fallen tree. His hand held a sharp metal rod. As one stepped into the trap, a hidden wire snapped. A blast of light shot out, knocking the creature to the ground. Another stepped forward, firing its weapon. Tom rolled behind a rock just in time. A red beam scorched the ground beside him. He threw the rod like a spear. It hit the second creature's arm, making it drop the weapon. Tom rushed forward and pushed it with all his strength into the second trap, a pit with spikes and wires. The creature fell in, roaring. But the third one was fast. It ran toward Tom, weapon ready. Tom reached for another tool, but it was too late. A blast hit his side, throwing him to the ground. Pain shot through his body. He rolled over, groaning. The creature walked toward him slowly, red eyes glowing. Tom closed his eyes. I tried. Lena, I hope it's enough. Back at the bunker, Lena finished repairing the control sphere. It now glowed bright blue, pulsing like a heartbeat. She smiled and placed it into the small panel from her ship. The lights blinked. A soft hum filled the room. Working, she whispered. Almost done. Then, suddenly, the scanner beeped again. Another red dot had appeared. But it wasn't near the bunker dot. It was west, far west. Lena's eyes widened. Tom, she whispered. She stood up, grabbed her tool bag, and ran. Tom lay on the forest floor, breathing slow. The pain in his side was sharp, but he was still alive. The enemy stood above him, raising its weapon. Suddenly, a beam of blue light shot through the trees. It hit the creature's weapon, making it spark and fly out of its hand. Tom opened his eyes. Lena stood nearby, one hand holding the metal tube, the other glowing with blue energy. Her face was fierce, her eyes full of fire. Get away from him, she said, her voice steady. The creature turned toward her, charging fast. Lena threw the metal tube like a blade. It hit the creature's chest and burst into light, knocking it backward. Tom coughed and sat up. Lena, what are you doing here? She ran to him and knelt down. You said you'd come back. He gave a weak smile. I'm glad you didn't wait. She placed her hand on his side. The wound was deep. From her bag, she pulled out a glowing gel and pressed it to the burn. Tom winced, then felt a cool, healing feeling spread across his skin. You saved me, he said. Lena looked at him. You saved me first. Together, they walked slowly back toward the bunker. Tom leaned on her, and she guided him carefully. The sky was starting to clear, and a few birds returned to the trees. When they reached the bunker, the control sphere blinked faster. It's ready, Lena said. I can send the signal now. Tom sat down, breathing hard. Then let's call for help. Lena pressed the button. A soft blue beam shot into the sky. It disappeared into the clouds, carrying her signal far across the stars. Now we wait, she said. Tom looked at her. Will they come? She nodded. Yes, they'll come for me. Then she looked down. But I don't know if I want to leave. Tom stared at her. Why? She hesitated. Because I found something here. Someone who made me feel safe. Who made me feel like I belong. Tom reached for her hand. I feel the same. She looked into his eyes. Silence filled the room, warm and deep. Outside, the stars began to appear. But inside the bunker, something brighter was growing between them, something stronger than fear, or pain, or even war. It was the beginning of something new. The night was quiet again. The forest outside the bunker had calmed. The air was cool, and the stars above shined gently. Inside, Tom rested on a blanket, his side wrapped in clean bandages. His face still showed pain, but his smile was soft. Lena sat beside him, her green eyes full of thought. The beacon had been sent. Somewhere far across the stars, her people might have heard it, but she didn't know how long it would take them to come. A day, a week, more. Tom turned his head toward her. You should rest, he said gently. I'm fine, Lena replied. You need rest more than me. Tom chuckled. Well, I won't argue with that. They sat in silence for a while. Then Lena spoke again, her voice low. Tom, when the ship comes, what if I don't want to go? Tom looked at her, surprised. You don't want to go home. I do, she said. But not without you. Tom's eyes softened. Lena, she looked down at her hands. My planet is beautiful, full of light, music, and peace, but I've never felt this kind of safety before. Not until I met you. Tom didn't know what to say at first. His heart was full. He had never thought someone from another world could feel this close to him. But she did, and he felt the same. I've never met anyone like you, he said finally, and I don't want to lose you. She reached out and held his hand. Then, don't let go. The next morning, the sky turned gray again. Lena checked the scanner. One more red dot had appeared on the edge of the map. Another hunter, she said. Tom sat up, holding his side. One left, Lena nodded. We stopped this one. Then wait for my people. Tom looked at her seriously. We don't run this time. We stopped them for good. Lena agreed. They worked together, even though Tom was still weak. Lena showed him how to power the last working part of her ship, the energy core. It could be turned into a defense tool, a shield, or even a weapon if needed. Tom helped her build it into a launcher using metal, wires, and old tools from the cabin. It took hours, but finally, it was ready. Let's finish this, Tom said. They followed the scanner through the woods. The red dot moved slowly, but it was getting closer. This hunter was smarter. It avoided the open forest and stuck to deep shadows. It moved only at night, but Lena had a plan. We lead it to the river, she said. Water blocks their vision. Tom nodded. Then we wait there. They set up near the river's edge, hiding behind large stones. The launcher was charged and ready. Tom held it carefully while Lena watched the scanner. Then they heard it, a low hum, heavy footsteps, leaves rustling. The hunter appeared on the other side of the river. It was taller than the others. Its armor was darker, and its eyes burned red like fire. Lena whispered, "It's the leader." Tom aimed the launcher, but the creature moved fast. It jumped across the river, landing only a few feet away. Tom fired. A beam of blue energy shot out and hit the hunter's chest. The armor cracked, and it fell to one knee. But it wasn't finished. It stood up, roaring. Lena threw a small sphere. It burst into light and blinded the hunter for a few seconds. Tom charged forward with a metal rod, hitting the creature's leg. The hunter swung back, hitting Tom across the shoulder. He fell. Lena screamed. She ran toward Tom, placing herself between him and the creature. The hunter raised its claw. Then Lena's hand began to glow. She stepped forward, her eyes bright with blue light. She touched the hunter's chest, and the light exploded. The hunter fell backward, silent and still. The forest went quiet again. Tom groaned, holding his shoulder. That was close. Lena helped him sit up. You okay? Yeah, he said with a smile. Thanks to you. She looked down at the hunter. No more chasing. It's over. Tom leaned back. Now we wait for the good ones. 2 days passed. They returned to the bunker. Tom rested, and Lena took care of him. She cleaned his wounds, made food from Earth's supplies, and sang soft songs in her language. Tom listened with a smile. Her voice was calming, like waves in the ocean. Each day, they talked more. Lena had learned many Earth words now. She told Tom stories of her planet, of floating gardens, glass towers, and cities that glowed under twin moons. Tom told her stories of his childhood, of snow, and of stargazing with his dad. They laughed. They shared. They became something more than friends. On the third night, Lena stood outside, looking at the stars. Tom joined her, leaning on the doorframe. Still waiting, he said. Lena nodded. I think they're close. Tom smiled. You'll see your home again soon. She looked at him. Will you come with me? Tom paused. Can I? Lena nodded. They will accept you. If I ask. Tom looked at the stars. He had never left Earth before, never even flown in a plane. But now, the idea didn't scare him. He looked at her. If it means staying with you, then yes, Lena smiled. Then we'll go together. Suddenly, the scanner beeped, but this time, it wasn't red. A green light flashed on the screen. Lena gasped. It's them, my people. Tom stood beside her. In the distance, a soft blue glow appeared above the trees. A ship descended slowly, silent and smooth. It hovered above the forest, and then a platform lowered to the ground. 3 figures stepped out. Their clothes shimmered like light. Their faces were kind. One of them called out in Lena's language. Lena ran forward. They hugged her, spoke with her. Then they looked at Tom. Lena turned to him. They know. I told them everything. The leader stepped forward and offered his hand. Tom shook it. You are welcome, the man said in broken English. You are friend. You are family. Tom smiled. Lena looked at him with joy in her eyes. We go now to a new home. Tom looked at his cabin in the distance one last time. Then he turned back to her. My home is with you. And together, they walked into the light. The ship was unlike anything Tom had ever seen. It was large and smooth, shaped like a teardrop shining under the starlight. The air inside smelled fresh and clean, with soft lights glowing gently along the walls. Tom's heart beat fast, full of wonder and nervousness. Lena held his hand tightly as they walked through the halls. The other people watched with kind eyes, but also quiet respect for the human who had saved their daughter. "This is home now," Lena said softly, her voice filled with hope. Tom looked out of a wide window. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction. Planets, moons, and sparkling lights moved slowly in space. "I never thought I'd leave Earth," Tom said. "But now, I'm glad." Lena smiled. "I want to show you everything." The journey was long. The ship moved faster than any human craft, passing through strange clouds of gas and glowing stars. Lena's people called it the Starlight Cruiser. It was both a home and a protector. Tom learned many new things on the ship. He saw gardens growing under glass domes, with plants that glowed softly in blue and green. He tasted foods made from colors and scents he could not describe. And he listened to music that sounded like waves and wind mixed with soft voices. But the best part was Lena. She taught him her language, showed him the stars from her world, and told him stories of her childhood. Tom felt more alive than ever before. One day, while they floated near a shining blue planet, Lena took Tom to a special room. It was round and bright, with a large screen showing their destination. "This is my home," she said, pointing to the planet. "It's called Velara." Tom watched as the ship moved closer to the planet. He saw tall towers made of glass and metal, floating islands covered with flowers, and rivers that sparkled like silver. Lena's people welcomed Tom warmly. They told stories of Lena's bravery and of the human who saved her. Tom felt proud and happy. Days passed. Tom learned the ways of Velara's people, their customs, their love for peace, and their power to protect the light inside them. Lena's family gave him gifts: soft clothes, tools, and a small glowing stone as a sign of friendship. One evening, Lena and Tom walked under two moons, their light soft and calm. Lena stopped and looked at him. "Tom," she said, "I want to ask you something." He smiled. "What? Will you stay? Not just for now, but forever?" Tom thought about Earth, the trees, the cabin, the quiet nights. But then he looked at Lena's eyes, shining like stars. "I will stay," he said. She smiled and took his hand. But peace did not last long. One day, a warning came from the ship's control center. "The hunters are coming," Lena said, her voice serious. Tom's heart jumped. "Again?" Lena nodded. "They followed us here." The leaders of Velara prepared their defenses. Shields rose around the planet. Ships flew out to meet the enemy. Lena stood beside Tom, holding his hand tightly. "This time, we fight for our home." Tom nodded. "And we fight together." The battle was fierce. Dark ships appeared in the sky, moving fast and firing beams of red light. Velara's ships answered with bright blue energy, blocking and destroying enemies. Lena and Tom helped where they could. Lena used her powers to create shields of light, protecting the cities below. Tom worked with the pilots, sharing ideas and helping repair machines. Though Tom was still learning, his courage and heart impressed everyone. After hours of fighting, the hunters retreated. Many ships were lost, but Velara was safe. Lena hugged Tom tightly. "You helped save my world." Tom smiled, tired but happy. "Because I have you." They looked at the stars together, knowing the fight was not over, but ready for whatever came next. The battle had ended, but the world of Velara was changed. The bright skies were filled with soft clouds, and the air smelled of fresh rain. The people of Velara began to rebuild their homes and cities. They worked together, side by side, with hope in their hearts. Lena and Tom walked through the glowing gardens near the palace. The flowers shimmered like tiny stars. Birds with feathers of light sang above them. It was peaceful. Lena looked at Tom, her green eyes shining. "Thank you," she said softly. Tom smiled. "For what?" "For saving me, for saving my people, for staying with me." Tom took her hand gently. "I never wanted to leave." They stopped near a fountain that sparkled with blue water. Tom looked up at the two moons shining over Velara. This place, it's beautiful. He said, I'm glad I'm here. Lena smiled. You're home now. The leaders of Velara invited Tom to join their council. They wanted his ideas to help protect the planet and build better peace with other worlds. Tom was nervous, but proud at the council meeting. He spoke clearly and simply. Humans are different, Tom said. We don't have powers like you, but we have courage and heart. And when we work together, we can do great things. The leaders listened carefully. They nodded in agreement. One of them said, Your spirit is strong, Tom. You're welcome here. Days turned into weeks. Lena and Tom grew closer. They learned each other's ways and dreams. Lena taught Tom the songs of Velara's soft melodies that told stories of stars and light. Tom taught Lena how to plant earth seeds and make bread from simple grains. One evening, under the twin moons, Tom surprised Lena. He held a small box made from crystal. I want to ask you, he said, will you stay with me? Not just as friends, but forever. Lena's eyes filled with tears of joy. Yes, she whispered. Forever. They hugged, holding each other tightly. Life on Velara was not always easy. There were still dangers from faraway enemies and challenges in building peace with other planets. But Lena and Tom faced them together. Tom's courage inspired the people. Lena's kindness brought hope. They became leaders not only of their people, but of a new future, one where humans and Velarans stood side by side. One clear night, Tom and Lena stood on a hill overlooking the glowing city. Look, Lena said, pointing to the sky. A new star had appeared. It shone brighter than the rest, pulsing with blue and gold light. It's a sign, Tom said. Of hope, Lena nodded. Of a new beginning. They held hands, watching the stars together. They knew their journey was only just beginning. The end.